Yeah, Jesse, I can look. Um,
I appreciate you guys so much. I'm on the verge of death right now.
dude, I
Just
feel
kidding.
that. I'm gonna take a lot of melatonin tonight and try to sleep through the night. And
Did
when
you
I say a
get?
lot, I
Did you
mean one
sleep
full
in?
pill. No, I can't. I was texting Rachel about this. I woke up with
Yeah.
so much anxiety that once I woke up, I'm like, I can't fall back asleep now. So it's time to
Wait,
start my
what?
day. Oh,
What time did you
so
wake
I'll
up?
anxious.
give you guys my Facebook login
Woke up
too.
at 9:30, maybe 9:45, but I think I fell asleep at 3. So it was like
Oh
six
my
and a half
God!
hours.
You still didn't get.
Yeah. Yeah. I
You,
legit cannot remember the last time I got more than 8 hours of sleep. Oh
you
shoot,
and
I need to put in
Rachel
headphones.
both
Oh my
need
god. Sorry.
SNRIs. Oh yeah.
Sorry. Whoops.
I think you and Rachel's
Okay, there we go.
baseline anxiety is just operates at such a high level.
Yeah.
So like any more added stress is just like tipping the ship completely.
Mhm.
I honestly think you guys should both see like a psychiatrist just to get things double checked, you know? Mental health is very important and we have
Mhm.
tools to treat it.
That's true. I'm taking
So,
2 mental health days tomorrow and Tuesday. I took off work. I've never done that before. But yes, I should probably
As
also
you
see a
should.
psychiatrist.
No,
yeah,
I
but
reached
then
out to
like
like campus services for like, potentially starting therapy, and they're like, "You don't need it." And I said, "Okay, cool.
Okay.
well,
Yeah, I
now
believe you."
Interesting.
anyways, what I was saying is you guys should definitely seek
Mm.
seek help.
I have.
This video is brought to you by
Yeah,
I've
well,
tried
it's
their
like
services.
I feel like there are so many
Oh.
barriers to getting help too. It's like first of all money, second of all finding a good therapist, because I know so
Mm.
many people that just don't have therapists that address their
Mhm.
needs.
Mhm.
And then it's like I don't know. And then like finding the right medication if you get prescribed medication, because then your life
Mhm.
gets for like gets messed up for like several weeks
Mhm.
if you're
months.
not on the right
Yeah.
months, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
I don't know, I feel like there's so many downsides of getting help that
Mhm.
or not downsides but like barriers to
Barriers.
actually getting
Yeah.
better. Not to say that people shouldn't like do that, but I feel like
It's hard to make that initial investment because you have to put a
Mhm.
lot of things off before
Mhm.
things start to get better. In fact, I mean, I know one of my friends, she's currently starting SSRIs and like these past few weeks have been awful. Like they've been worse than they were before.
So
And
that's why I don't want to do that.
yeah. Because then it's also like when you're feeling the worst is when making that first step is the hardest. And then when
Mhm.
things are
Yeah.
better, it's like you feel like you don't need it.
Yeah.
Mhm. And then you never end up getting help because when
Yeah.
you're feeling
Yeah.
your worst, it's like you don't want to make things any worse than they already are. And then when you feel better, you're just like, why would I change this? Because I'm feeling better. I mean, it's also still good to start with just by getting a therapist because like
Yeah.
that doesn't. I mean, the investment there is just time and money. Okay, sometimes it's a lot of time because like I
And
remember
sometimes a
cycling
lot of money.
through. Yeah, I've cycled through like 5 or 6 therapists just to find one that still wasn't really that helpful,
Mm.
and like finding the right therapist fit and like someone with the right tools to help you fix the problem that you have is
Mhm.
really tough, because people's problems are really specific, and like finding the right person who you get along with and has the tools to help you fix the problems that you have is also incredibly difficult. But there are like tailored like I mean I think maybe BetterHelp does have a feature where it's like you can like input all the problems that you have and then they spit out like someone who's best tailored to you, I feel like. But from what I've heard, I've never tried BetterHelp myself, but from what I've heard, people's experiences generally are either meh or not helpful at all.
Yeah, we're not gonna get a sponsor from them, huh? No, I'm just kidding.
Do we want one from them? Like, do we
That's true,
want a
that's true.
sponsor? Because
I mean,
I've heard things
yeah.
from, well, I haven't, there's nothing specific that I can pinpoint, but I have generally heard negative things from like independent,
Yeah.
like psychiatrists, in terms of like BetterHelp monopolizing almost.
Hmm.
therapy or that vibe, you know.
I know one person who likes it, but like, yeah,
Oh,
I know
really?
more
Okay.
people who don't than do. Yeah.
I mean, the person who likes it probably just got lucky and chanced upon.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
BetterHelp is just
Isn't that
connecting
just
you to like
therapy? Yeah.
psychologists and therapists. It's not like it's just a platform to connect people. It's not really like I don't think BetterHelp has their own psychologists and therapists, do they? Like their own in-house? I don't think so.
I think, yeah, it's just,
Because like that would have taken a
Good
lot
Yeah,
of
I don't know
effort
how
for
that
them
works,
to like
actually.
recruit that many
No, there's
people
no way
with
to have
that with
so
the
many
scale
people
that they
in-house.
operate at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I doubt it. I still think if it is truly a platform that just connects people based on like a few survey questions and connecting them with the best possible therapist for their tailored needs, that's actually a pretty good platform. But I don't know why it doesn't seem like people. I've heard a lot of BetterHelp ads, but I've never heard like any success stories, which is weird. But there are other like mental health resources and online resources too that don't get advertised as heavily as BetterHelp. My friend works as a software engineer at one of these. I guess BetterHelp competitors. So they exist. I don't know if they're any good or not, but they definitely exist. I feel like I personally wouldn't advertise BetterHelp if I hadn't tried it and
Yeah.
had it been successful first.
Mhm.
So maybe one of you guys can try it, and then if it works, you can be like, hey, have a podcast. But obviously you'd have to go, and it's kind of expensive.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's not crazy. I think because I downloaded BetterHelp and I got quoted for a session. I think it was like
Yeah.
$80.
I think it was like
session.
60 or 80 when I was
Yeah.
when I was
And I
looking
think
at
that
it.
was
yeah.
that's
with
like a
the initial
violin
discount.
lesson.
I think.
When you think about it, like $60 to $80 seems like a lot. Like when I was looking at it, I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's a lot of money up front just for like an initial consultation. Where initial consultations, you probably will have to do multiple initial consultations before you find the right person. So like I was like, oh, that's a lot of money to just be like, oh, that didn't work.
Yeah.
And that's always a tough spot to be when you're starting your journey. Whereas like if you're finding therapists, well, I guess it also depends on your insurance because like when I was
Usually
looking
you
for
get
therapists, I
free
just look at
15
in-network.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Like 15, 30-minute consultation. Because I did like 4 or
Yeah.
5 of them. And then they were all out of network. And I'm like, oh, lovely.
All right, let's get started with the pod.
Sick.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this episode of the Rooftop Pod. I'm your host, Jesse, and joining me today is my brother
Andrew.
and my sister.
Rachel.
And we're doing fantastic today. If you couldn't tell already, vibes
We're
are
doing so
almost
well. Immaculate. Through
vibes
the
are
roof.
almost immaculate. They're
Yeah,
through the roof,
rooftop.
and
Couldn't
we're
be
just
better
chilling right
today.
now.
Just chilling.
So let's do a really quick check-in before we dive into our subjects today. We can go as deep or as shallow as you guys want in terms of updates. I can start first. I mean, things have been recently pretty busy for me because I had a thesis committee meeting last week. And basically, my thesis committee, which is like a committee of professors who decide whether or not I can graduate, they're like, oh, these are a bunch of experiments. Well, we talked about it because I was kind of at a plateau, but not really, like a sticking point in my thesis where like I didn't see how things were moving forward, or I couldn't see how the project could continue moving forward. So I was stuck, and they gave me a bunch of ideas, and they weren't like novel ideas or ideas I've thought about, but I didn't think would be helpful. But they're like, yeah, you should really try these experiments. So the past couple of weeks, I've been just scheduling 10 experiments per day and slammed. But I mean, obviously, I scheduled them for myself. So I've been really busy with that. But I wanted to really quickly also say that my undergrads have been so immensely helpful with helping me with all of my work. They've been just like super diligent, working super hard with me. Like today, one of my undergrads came in and just worked with me from like 11 to 3. And that experiment, had I done it just by myself, I would have been there for like probably like 16, 17 hours straight. But she helped me out for 4 hours ish, and like because she's so capable, we were able to basically my productivity is doubled every single time she comes in, which is absolutely amazing. She's also just want to brag about my undergrad because she's been killing it. She competed in a couple competitions, like presenting her scientific work and stuff, or our project. I watched her presentation and she did so well. We also applied for a few grants over the past month or so, and she just got news today that she got awarded one of those grants. So I couldn't be more proud of her. Like, this is like, I didn't realize how much mentoring would fulfill me, but over these past couple months and seeing like all of the time and commitment I've invested into them come to fruition has been an incredibly rewarding experience. So if you ever have the opportunity to like mentor someone in your life, definitely take it on. It helps you learn how to teach and be a mentor, which is, I think, a very valuable experience, but also the reward of seeing someone prosper and grow like under your tutelage is just a fantastic feeling. So just wanted to give that update.
That was really
Bring
cute.
up the
That's
vibes
really
a little
cute.
bit.
Nice. That
Yeah,
was actually
that's
really,
so
really cute.
wholesome. I'm
Yeah.
Now
gonna
I wanna
cry.
Rachel, you want to
Wow.
cry? Rachel, I've heard Rachel say I want to cry probably upwards 20 times this week.
Yeah.
So
And each
anything
time I
emotional,
do.
positive
Positive or negative, just tears.
triggers tears.
Yeah, it's that kind of week.
It's been that kind of week for many weeks.
Hey.
It's okay. It's almost over.
It's
Your
okay.
semester's
Yeah,
almost
seriously.
Over.
You're gonna finish school. You're gonna get to travel
Mhm.
with. Wait, are you traveling with
Friends.
Annie?
No, I'm traveling with like high school friend group.
Oh, high school friend.
Yeah,
group.
but
Gotcha.
I will be
Hula-
seeing Annie
Hula
as
gang.
well. Yeah. Which will
Oh,
be
right,
nice.
because you're going to SF too.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I mean, once you're done with school and you can travel stress-free, hopefully stress-free, crossing my fingers that everything comes together in time for you to move to New York. But once everything's figured out and the dust has settled, make it your goal to just relax.
Yep.
You'll get there, Rachel.
Rachel, you want to go into this life update, or you want me to take the next one?
Yeah, I can life update, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been rough.
Yeah.
It's been real rough on many fronts. I think I
Oh.
sent a text yesterday that was like, yeah, sorry for being unresponsive or like not present these past couple of weeks. Like I've just been feeling really bad about several aspects of my sparkle emoji life. Sparkle emoji. So yeah, I think like, yeah, I feel like there's a lot of times when I just, oh no, okay, maybe I won't talk about it because then I'll start crying. So
It's okay to cry on the pod.
Yeah.
no, it's
yeah.
not.
I've done it
No, it's
before.
not. This is true.
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like sometimes, you know, I just like I get really upset when I don't do things to a certain standard that I set for myself. And that's for like every aspect. So it's not just like school or like things that are actually measured, but it's also in terms of like how I view myself as a friend or as like a sister, like that kind of, or as a daughter. And so I've been feeling like I haven't been meeting my own standards for that recently. And so I've been taking it kind of hard. Or like I've been very hard on myself for that. Yeah. So anyways, yeah. So, and like also standards in terms of like being able to take care of myself too. Like I feel like when I get busy, like the first thing to go is the time that I take to take care of myself. And then once I have a point to like actually think about like how I feel, everything just rushes in. And then yeah, and so Jesse and Andrew were there for that yesterday when it all came out. And it was during a 2-hour break that I had from work because I was working the whole day yesterday. Which like, and I think I also feel worse when objectively, like with the things that I'm doing, I should be happy. Like objectively, I've had really good experiences, but I feel even worse because I don't feel happy in those moments. And I am really hard on myself about that as well. So yeah, so that's like kind of the negative portion. So the objectively good things. So yesterday on Jesse's note of like mentoring being super fulfilling. So I've been a TA for a course for like the past 2 years, and I love TAing this course. I wasn't in class this semester. This course is special in that like the TAs are very hands-on. Like they're in class with the students every class day, which is like 3 times a week in the spring and then 4 times a week in the fall. So like you really get to know the students, and they had like their big competition where they build a robot to do a bunch of these tasks on a course that the TAs build. And so just seeing like the camaraderie that the students built with each other, like across teams, like inner team, outer team, it was just really lovely to see like the sportsmanship that was going on. And how excited, how proud people were of the work that they did, because like even though I wasn't in class, I still did like basically like office hours kind of things. So I saw a lot of the students like multiple times, and it was really cool to see that like the students that actually did like go to office hours a lot were the ones that were doing the best. And so like it's very fulfilling to see people's like hard work pay off.
Yes.
So it was very, very heartwarming to see that. And then we also said goodbye to a lot of the graduating like seniors and graduate students who are graduating yesterday as well, which was very sad but very heartwarming. I feel like there are a lot of programs that I've been a part of where like the thing that makes the program special is the people, because the people, number one, they care a lot about the program, and number two, they care a lot about all the other people that contribute to the program. So it always feels really nice to be a part of something where like everyone just cares a lot about like the happenings, like the mission and the goal of said thing. So I think yesterday was one of those days where I really felt that, which was nice. Despite how I was feeling, that was lovely to experience.
So that was a robot competition you were talking about.
Yes.
Nice.
That's really cool. Is it like
Sick.
Is it like the TV show BattleBots?
I have never seen BattleBots. They don't battle.
Oh, word?
It's like okay. So basically how we have it set up is there's, oh my gosh, some of my students know about this podcast. It'd be so wild if they were listening to this.
Wait, what?
Shout them out. Shout
they
'em out.
yesterday there's like 2 sections of this program. There's like a research section and then the robot section. So like half of the students that I had in the fall did the research, and then half of them did the robot. So I was talking to some of the research kids yesterday because they were presenting all their final posters and everything, and they were like, oh my gosh, like I saw you on a podcast with your brothers on Instagram. And I was like, oh my gosh, stop. Yeah, I was like, oh boy,
she's famous.
But yeah,
stop.
so wait, where was I going with this? Oh yes, how it's set up is that there's 4 identical courses and then 4 robots run at the same time and it's like whoever does the course the fastest and the most accurate. So there's like 5 different tasks,
like
4 to
so
5
much
different
fun.
tasks. Yeah. Where they build a robot to complete these tasks, and it was airport themed this semester. So it was like they'd had to refuel the airplane. They'd have to like stamp a passport. They'd have to drop off a luggage at a baggage claim. And then they'd have to like click a check-in button or something like that. So
Wait, how large are these robots?
they're very small. I think it's
okay.
we
So
have
these are not,
we
like-
have a standard.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
it's
okay.
like they have to be within like a 5x5 box, I think.
Oh,
No, that
okay,
seems
okay.
small. 6x6, 9x9. I don't know.
Are we
But they're
talking inches,
like
talking feet. Oh.
inches.
Okay,
So they're
yeah.
they're like yay footprint.
Yeah,
big,
okay, gotcha,
juicy.
gotcha.
Yeah.
That's sick.
I always really enjoyed classes where you actually got to build something.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I think
I
that's why I like
remember in high
physics.
school physics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The boat.
The catapult. Mm.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yeah.
The duct tape
No,
boat.
the
That was so much fun,
hands-on.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like it's especially nice when students get the freedom to build different things. So like basically
Mm.
we just provide materials. They have a budget. They can buy whatever materials they want from a store. I run the store. I am the store manager. So I like restock everything. I put in orders and whatever. I fulfill orders. It's so fun because it feels fake, but it's not. So students buy parts from a store. You can buy whatever they want that's being stocked in the store, and then they have the freedom to like think of what mechanisms to complete the tasks. So it's really cool to see like what different teams will build, and then some teams will like 3D print custom parts to do specific things like more efficiently. They also have to figure out ways to navigate the course. So like the TAs have developed something called RPS, because you know GPS is like something positioning system, geospatial something geographical, I don't know, but RPS is robot positional robot positioning system. So they can use that. They can use like different mechanisms to bump into walls to tell them they're at a wall and need to change directions. There's also line following on the course, so it's like there's a lot of different ways that people can go about it. So it's very, very cool to see like what students come up with.
Nice. That's awesome.
Sick.
Yeah. So you felt like that you weren't really able to enjoy that moment because of the other stressors in your life?
I think in the morning, like before my big cry, I think like for the past couple of weeks, I just haven't been feeling present. Like every time I would be somewhere or be with people or be doing things, I wouldn't be giving 100% because I'd be thinking about all the other things that I need to do.
You're almost dissociated. Yeah.
So I had felt like that. And then I got like after the cry, I got to a good point where I was like, okay, I can just focus on this. I'm just not going to think about anything else and just like enjoy what is happening right now. And was able to do that pretty successfully, which is nice.
Okay, that's good. At least you were able to like kind of pull yourself into the moment to enjoy it. Yeah, I think that's the toughest part with anxiety and any form of mental health problems is like you're just so distracted by your own thoughts and feelings that you can't enjoy what's currently going on in front of you.
Yeah.
And like having mechanisms and ways to cope with that, to bring yourself into the present moment, as hard as it is, like being able to rely on those time and time again will help you move in the right direction. For sure. Yeah. All right, Rachel, anything else you want to share?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, I think I am only able to, sorry, last note on this, because you just talked about coping mechanisms. Y'all, man, I can't do this. I was gonna thank you guys for like being I'm only able to pull myself out of these positions because I have such a good support system. Like I have people that I can talk to that I know will make me feel better, and will let me be sad in the moment, but also like slap me in the face and be like, you know, like you can feel this way, but there's also so much more to like look forward to. Even though it doesn't feel like that in the current moment, like it's there. So thank you guys for being such good big brothers.
We're your siblings. We have no choice.
Nope. You give
Okay,
us
well, yeah. There's like very few people
No, I'm kidding.
that I'm like as comfortable as I am with you guys. So I appreciate you guys.
Yeah. I mean, same goes for me. I think you guys have been like an incredible support system for me for everything I've gone through in the past year or so. Having those people it's just so important to have people that who will listen to you and let you feel the way you feel and also guide you and direct you in the right direction. It's always helpful to have, I mean, it's almost necessary to have those people surrounding you to get through life. And I'm glad we can be that for each other.
Facts.
It's God's gift to us. Is each
Thanks,
other.
God. Yeah, because this
Mom would
morning, this morning I was texting Rachel because me and Rachel were in it this morning. It was a no bueno situation, and I was like, Rachel's like, oh, I think like should we just cancel on the pod today? I was like, I think we might have to cancel on the pod today, and then later I was like, wait, I think talking to you guys will actually make me feel better, so let's run the pod. So we're here now. Yeah.
I mean, truly, I think this podcast does. I mean, calling you guys is a form of therapy. Like, even though none of us are trained or licensed therapists or whatever, like we all have our own life experiences, and we can share what we've learned from those experiences to help each other. And like, and if it makes you feel better to talk to us, like, that's therapy. Like therapy is meant for you to like eventually feel better. And if you have people in your life that you can talk to that make you feel better, as long as it's in a healthy, positive manner, I think that's, I mean, I wouldn't say it takes the place of therapy, but sometimes I do feel like my siblings and my friends are my therapist. Like they are the ones who get me through the toughest times. And at some points I'm like, I don't need a therapist because my friends and my family help me even more than like licensed therapists do sometimes.
We love that. We need
We
that.
love that. Free therapy, baby.
Hell yeah.
I love
why
a
you
good
guys are
free
here.
therapy session.
Yeah. Or get lots of siblings.
Yeah. All right, Andrew, you're up next.
Yeah. Similar boat to Rachel, as we alluded to earlier in the podcast, where we are a little bit stressed and overwhelmed. But I don't know, like I remember back in high school, I had this feeling of being like perpetually tired for like days on end. Like when I get 3 to like 4 or 5, like a week of less than like 7 hours of sleep, when I'm sleeping anywhere from 5 to 6 hours, like it starts to physically hurt to be awake. And I remember feeling that in high school. I'm like, I never want to feel that again. And so like in college, I try to make it an active effort to like not put myself in those situations. And then like after that, and for the most part, like I've tried to like maintain like a pretty healthy sleep schedule. But this past week, we have not been getting much sleep. And once again, I was like feeling the perpetual tiredness. And I just feel like a little bit more like aggravated, like, or agitated and like irritable. And I'm like, I don't like this about myself. And this is all stemming from like trying to balance like my 9 to 5 work with like my quote unquote 5 to 9 like social media work. And it's like Rachel, like it's hard to complain about these things because these are like such amazing opportunities. And when I moved to New York, I'm like, I want to say yes to everything. I want to push this like career as far out as I can. So it's like saying yes to like brand deals, photo shoots, like events, like meeting new people, all these things that have come my way. And I realize like Rachel as well, like the first thing that's going is like my me time. So like time in the, like, you know, it's bad when I stop working out. Like there was a period of like 2 to 3 days, where I'm like, I simply do not have time to go to the gym.
2 to 3 days.
I know that's like,
It's
and
me
that's
on a
like
weekly
doesn't
Boy,
sound-
it's been like 3
I
weeks
know.
since I've last been in the gym.
But like, I go
But
to
that's
the
odd
gym-
for Andrew. That is
it's-
true.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that gym time, because I realized to me like that is the time where I can like block out everything and like just be more empty-headed than like usual, and
Yeah.
just like zone out and zone in just simply on like the workout. Yeah, so taking 2 days off work, like Monday, Tuesday, just to like, I would say like it's to like rest and recover, but it's not. It's to like get like all the other brand deals done so I can have time to like actually do work when because like tomorrow I'm like, I'm going to casting. I need to film like a couple brand deals and I need to shoot over like a concept video. Yeah, so like I'm like, realistically, I can't go to work and also get all these deadlines on top or get these like deadlines met. I think I need to enter a new phase in like my New York existence where I need to start saying no to things.
Saying no. Yeah.
Yeah, because talking to my other friends who like also are in the social media space for like a living, like it is, and I've told you guys this, is like it's a blessing to be busy because it means that like things are like doing well. But yes, there's a reason why like people burn out when they say yes to everything. So
Yep.
I don't know. I think I need to start like reprioritizing things, and like something that my roommate does, which I think is genius and I need to start adopting, is she takes her Sundays as like me time and she
Sabbath
blocks
day.
it out. Yeah. Oh shoot.
Oh.
My internet.
Oh,
Did Andrew
there goes
freeze?
Andrew.
Hello.
Oh no.
Oh, okay, I'm back. Sorry. Wi-Fi
Okay.
issues. Yeah, no, she takes her Sundays as me time, and like no matter what, she like doesn't make plans, and it's really cool because her friends now know that Sunday is her like self-care time. So they'll have friends saying like, hey, like I know like Sunday is your like self like care day, like this event is really cool, do you want to join? Like totally okay if like you
like
don't.
there's already the
Yeah,
expectation that she's not gonna go. I see.
So it's like this day is for herself. I'm like, oh my god, that's genius.
Wow.
So I think I might start doing that too, because I really like that when she told me that.
I mean, this is a concept as old as time itself.
It
God,
really is.
God really knew what he was doing. God really knew what he was doing.
God also had to rest on the 7th day, and he's God.
He took a me day.
He's God.
He took a mental health day, and he's God.
And he's God.
Even God had to take a mental health day. I mean, yeah, creating the universe must be a little bit overwhelming sometimes too. So
yeah,
sometimes that's what it feels like, you know, when life just piles up and like there seems like there's no end to it. I mean, it's really hard to say. I mean, we're all in a phase of our lives where we're just building, and it's really hard for us to like pick and choose, because it's hard to see like what's gonna pan out and what's gonna be the most worthwhile when you're still at the beginning. So like we're just saying yes to everything and wanting to do everything because we think each thing has like the opportunity to pan out and be something worth investing our time and money into. So I mean, I don't think it's like to any fault of you or Rachel that you guys are just like committing yourself to everything. I think we all three of us have this tendency to just overcommit and then have way too much on our plates, and then at some point you just find out that you're one human being. Like you don't have infinite hours in the day, infinite like energy to like attend to all of those things. And I don't know, finding your own limit is like a pretty humbling experience, but also can be a really tough experience on your mental health. So I'm glad you guys are finding ways to start to cope with these things and try to recognize that, I mean, overcommitting and burning out is an issue. Okay. I had a few things prepared. Now none of those things kind of seem appropriate to what we're talking to today.
I saw those. But I did some reading on those two topics.
Yeah, but
I had no idea what those were. Yeah.
Our conversation really reminded me of like someone asked a question in our Discord chat yesterday, and the question is from ZZ in our rooftop chat channel. He or she says, guys, I have a question for the pod regarding mental health. Do you guys think that the current/coming generation has it better because there's so much awareness? Or do you think they have it worse because there's too much to know, like with social media and technology and everything just actually getting worse? And this is like so relevant to what we just talked about.
Yeah. That's really
because
relevant.
With like the hyper awareness of social media, sure, we get like, I don't know, like a little bit of reprieve from like corporate America. They give you mental health days, and like at OSU, in colleges, they give you like mental health resources. But like at the end of the day, do they really help you that much compared to like all the other new problems that modern day technology and society brings upon us? Like, is it keeping up with like all the new mental health issues that come along with modern day technology and societal
honestly
practices?
At the current state that it's in, I don't think so. I think like the biggest issue with America, at least, is like this culture of work, like just work, like it's just productivity. That's all your worth is your productivity, right? I think because we have such an emphasis on that, like all these, it just seems like virtue signaling almost. It's like, oh, you have these mental health days, you're offering these mental health resources, but at the end of the day, like how much does that really help? Like yes, it might help the most severe of cases, and maybe those are the cases that need to be helped the most, but like for the vast majority of people, they're still not getting help because the resources are still limited. And yeah, and I also have to say, like, along with all the new issues that modern technology has brought up with, you know, like body image with like Instagram and things like that. There's glorification of mental health issues too. Like if you were on Tumblr during like the 2012 era, that was an awful time to be online as like an impressionable teenager, preteen, because like self-harm was being glorified, depression, anxiety, all of that. Like people glorified
Almost
that,
to a point,
and like
it still is.
yeah, and like the idea of a tortured artist, and like you can only produce beautiful things if you're mentally anguished. So all of that was just being amplified, and like still to some degree is, and I think that's really harmful, especially for younger individuals, and there needs to be some protection for people not to be exposed to that at such a young age. Me personally, for kids in the future. Yeah.
I'm gonna send you guys this chart over our group message.
Yeah.
This is a chart of suicide rates from 1981 to 2016, and it's really fascinating. You can see suicide rates actually dipped in the early 2000, late 90s, and then start to rise again. And that dip and rise is almost exactly in concordance to when the internet came around and became popularized. So with the advent of the internet and social media in the early 2000s, you can see ever since then there's a steady rise in suicide rates. So it seemed like, at least in the US, we reached like a peak in like our mental health probably around like the late 90s when the internet didn't exist, but technology was at a point where humans were satisfied and they were able, where technology was benefiting them way more than it was hurting them. And after 2000, it seemed like technology advanced to a place where it started actually hurting mental health more than it was helping.
I don't know. I think with the advent of like internet progressing, social media taking off, it's just pushing more to the extremes, right? The lows are getting lower, the highs are getting higher. So like you just get more like polarizing experiences. Like there's so much opportunities that you can capitalize through social media now. Like you can literally change your night or change your life overnight and become like overnight sensations. Like you can go from being incredibly like broke or low income and just like, I don't know, virality takes off and your life changes. Like there have been stories of that, of like artists who are now able to like find like these massive audiences, being like independent artists without like a label, like as one like very niche example. But yeah, like you get extremes on both ends now. So
yeah, I mean, it's not a stable way for society to operate, I don't think. Like having such extreme highs and extreme lows. I mean, the extreme highs are great, but like at the cost of extreme lows. And I never think that's ever a worthwhile sacrifice to make.
I feel like that's why like anybody who like does like I'm like gonna go off social media for like a week, a month, like always feels better afterwards. It's because like it's probably net negative to be like sucked in like these social media black holes. Yeah.
And I think it's also distracts people. Like we were talking about being present, and I think social media is a really good way to not be present, or just to distract yourself from things that might actually be happening. Because I feel like distraction is probably one of the biggest coping mechanisms that people have now because they have so much access to different things.
Yeah. Unhealthy coping mechanism.
Yeah.
It's for me, I've never really found social media to be something very harmful to me. Like I never invest too much of my self-worth into social media. Like I know a lot. I mean, for some creators, social media is their like career kind of. So they invest a lot of their selves into like the outcomes of social media. Whereas for me, I've never felt like when I had no followers and when I posted things and nothing got liked, I was like, I'm posting this more for myself than for or anyone else. There's so many facets to how social media can be harmful, because like they're also pushing content that's very polarizing and can be extremely harmful to your mental health and your body image and etc. So that's that kind of stuff. I'm not speaking to that. I'm just talking about how social media, the reward system, the dopamine hits that you get from likes and follows, it can be incredibly harmful if you're not approaching it in like a healthy way. Yeah.
I think especially for children, I think like I don't know. I don't think they should learn to socialize on social media first. I think it's like you build up your connections, and social media is a means to keep in touch or like expand your social circle. But like you need that critical time when you're growing up to like learn how to socialize with people who are around you before you can do so online.
Yeah, I'm really curious and a little bit concerned about how this new generation of kids are going to grow up, because they went through the pandemic where they weren't able to see people, like they weren't able to physically socialize with people. And now they have their main mode of communication and socialization is over like Discord, through like, I don't know how else people chat over the internet nowadays, but a lot of people just spend their times interacting with their friends online. And maybe that's a new norm, and like you get good at that and you can be successful in society like that. But I think there's an aspect of real human connection, like in-person not physical, but like in-person human connection that humans need in order to satisfy like our purpose here on earth. So not having the skills to be able to meet those needs is a little bit concerning to me, because a lot of my time in college and stuff was spent like building communities and like trying to get people to interact and be together in person. And I see that this next generation's starting to lose the skills and capabilities to be able to do that, and a little bit concerning for sure.
Yeah. Even like mom said that there's like a difference with Philip and John.
They seem so different from us.
Oh,
They
yeah,
seem
100%.
absolutely
They're like
different
straight
from
up
us.
just iPad kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I
iPad
don't
kids
know.
for
I
sure.
never, because I remember, at least with us growing up, like we'd ask mom and dad to hang out with our friends all the time. Like we'd just be invited to things, or we'd like make plans with our friends and do those things. Or I feel like John and Philip, there's less of a proclivity to, I don't know, like do actual things with their friends in person. It's more so of like, oh, let's hop on online at the same time so we can chat,
play
or
games or
play
chat.
games.
Yep. Yeah. Very different. Very different. So along those lines, how would you guys raise kids in the future now that we have like, I've seen a lot of different parenting styles with the advent of like smartphones, iPads, and like this like very easy access to like online material. Would you restrict your kids from like total access, or would you just let them have like free reign over whether they can be on the internet or not? Or do you fall somewhere in the middle? And then how would you approach that middle ground if you were to raise your kids?
I think about this not a lot, but I've thought about this. I think mom, like you say this now, and I know like this is like what I ideally want is you set boundaries, right? Like mom and dad, to Philip and John, like you can only play video games on the weekend. Like you can't play unless you finish like X, Y, and Z, your homework, piano, whatever. And then like set your foot down. But like when you have a kid and they're crying and screaming, and you know that if you throw an iPad in front of them, they're gonna stop. Like, oh my God, that's gonna be so tempting. Which is why I think like I want to. Sorry, this is gonna go off a slight tangent. Like I want to build now so that I have the time to spend with my kid and like do activities with them outside of social media. Like I really hope by the time I have kids, I have like freedom away from like a corporate 9 to 5 structure, so that I can like not like be busy and like just throw them an iPad because I don't have time, right? I have time to actually spend and invest.
Yeah.
and like give them another activity to do outside of being on the iPad. But I mean,
Yeah.
I think mom and dad set good boundaries of like finish your tasks first. You can't be on the iPad like during the weekdays. Like school comes first. Yada yada yee.
Yeah. I didn't even think of it like that. Like, it's almost a privilege to be able to spend, because like the only alternative to not giving them the iPad is spending your own time to be with your kid and like doing activities with them. And some people just don't have that luxury. Like some
Right.
parents are working multiple jobs and they don't have free time to do that. So the easiest solution for them is to just throw their kid an iPad. And like we still don't know what the consequences of that necessarily are. But yeah, I could see this becoming like almost a pandemic of sorts, where we just see like these unsocialized kids like not being able to operate in society because they were just raised on iPads and like released into the wild after they turn 18.
That's like people talking about COVID kids in college is like, since we took every single test and all the assignments online and cheating was such a big thing, like when we actually go out into the workforce, the quality of work that we're going to produce is going to be so bad. So we didn't actually learn
But
anything
luckily,
in college.
And that's why we need like machine learning and like
Artificial intelligence. We don't need real intelligence.
Yeah, humans
our
have
whole
have
entire
flaws.
our entire workforce. And I'm listening to a podcast right now. A lot of companies are literally scaling down their companies in terms of like how many people they're firing, a ton of people, just because the productivity of like, we've talked about this already, like of one person is like 10x with ChatGPT and AI and all these machine learned like resources. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. So
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little concerned. I mean, this is a confluence of literally robots taking over the world or AI taking over the world, because like humans are on a downward trajectory, AI is on an upwards trajectory, and at one point they're gonna cross and humans are gonna get taken over. Dang, that is, dude. I mean, if you think about it, computers are literally raising our children now through iPads and screen time.
It's actually kind of crazy. Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah. They
But
can
it's-
literally, if AI becomes sentient, they can literally start programming our kids to think and do whatever they want. Holy cow. That's
This
so
is
far
like
in the
a sci-fi
future.
horror now.
This sounds like dystopia.
All right,
now.
let's
Yeah.
reel it back.
Reel
Reel
it
it back. Reel it back. Reel it back.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to bring up is in line with raising your kids. Would you two raise your kids in the church growing up? Just because we know what it's like to be raised in the church, we know the benefits and the disadvantages to being raised in a church. Knowing all those things, when you raise your own kids, would you raise your kids in the church?
At least I think for us. Oh, sorry.
No, go
I'll
for
keep
it.
going. I think for us, like I'd say it was net positive.
Okay.
I think, like you learn a lot of morals in the church, and like you see a lot of. I think it's all contingent on finding a good church community, because there's a lot of churches out there that maybe do not,
Toxic.
practice necessarily, or have like a toxic culture that's like very much so based on shaming and like like more so on the negatives than the positives of, yes, God loves you, let's all spread that love kind of thing. I think just morals and having a community. I think especially for mom and dad, it was especially important on the community aspect. But yeah, I think instilling a good set of morals, idealistically, I think that's like kind of what happened for us. But also like being able to see, or being in an environment where people are encouraged to like give, like whether it's donating time, or just doing things for other people out of the kindness of their heart. Like they're not necessarily doing it for any ulterior motive to like benefit themselves in any way. It's like just genuine love towards other people. I think that's like probably one of the like nicest things from
Definitely.
church that I've taken away.
I mean, church for me was a big net positive because of the community. Like some of my closest friends are still from the church. I had a really, really good like class growing up. That like I don't know, we like hung out outside of church, like sleepovers, camping trips, like the whole shebang. Like we go to each other's weddings now, which is nuts. But I don't know.
Crazy.
I think about would I take my kids to church? It's weird because if I take I think I will take my kids to church, and then if they like find a good community, like they find like people they're homies with and they want to go to church, like that'd be great, and they have a like good time going, and then of course like yeah, like I'm gonna keep taking them. But I feel like it might be weird if my kids are more devout Christians and they're like praying for me to like, oh man, my dad needs to go to church even though he took me to church, because
He
mom and
drinks
dad
every weekend.
Yeah.
I will not be doing that as a parent. But like
Yeah, because
mom
if you
and
take
dad,
if you take your kids to church, that means you
Yeah.
also have to be going to church.
you're kind of like it's weird because mom and
Yeah.
dad obviously like very steadfast in their faith,
Mhm.
like they're devout
very.
Christians, and so if ever we had doubts about like our faith growing up, like we would turn to mom and dad, and it's just like an unmovable rock in like
Yeah.
their faith
Yeah.
in Jesus Christ. And so if my kids like turn to me, I'm like, you know what, son,
Talk to your pastor about
I
that.
don't talk to your pastor, because
Oh,
I
we
don't
can just
know.
turn them to mom and dad.
That's
We
true.
don't have
Talk to Yaya Nai. They'll figure it
Yeah.
out.
Oh my gosh,
Um,
they'd be white po and white gong for me. That's crazy.
Yeah.
They do.
Mom and
Yeah.
dad give yin and I vibes to me.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
do give Yaya Nai vibes to me. But yeah, oh my god, yeah, they would
Yeah.
be white pool. Okay. I forgot
Um,
it's different for Rachel.
yeah, I all those benefits that
That's
you guys talked about,
crazy.
I pretty much align with, just because I think church also had net positive, but the negative side of it is, and honestly, it depends on the church and culture, which is what Rachel brought up, is the guilt and the shame that we grew up with. To some extent, I think it was good, because like I don't have the propensity to cheat, lie, or steal ever. Like even when the opportunity presents itself and I know I would benefit
Oh, that's
greatly
true.
from
That's
cheating,
true.
lying, or stealing, I don't do it because there's this deep ingrained shame and guilt that eats away.
Oh, it eats away.
It's been beat into my head that
Yeah.
lying, stealing, and cheating
Yeah.
is really bad. And like even though
Moral
now like I
principles,
don't link
yeah.
it to going to hell anymore, I still have this like I have a conscience, I have a voice in my head. It's like, if you do this, you're gonna feel terrible about it, and so I don't do it. But I see like I see peers cheat, lie, and steal their way into like success, and I'm just like, man, like if I didn't have this moral compass or this like voice in my head, like how far in life would I be right now? Like it's actually kind of crazy. Like
That could be me.
dang, it
That
sucks
could
to be a
me
good
right now.
person.
Oh, the price of being a good person,
God.
I guess.
Dang it.
I will also say, especially growing up in the Midwest, like going to a Chinese church probably benefited
Mhm.
Oh, yeah,
immensely
that's
in being
true.
able to
That's true.
develop that cultural identity. Because I think like just from school alone, like even though Mason was very segregated in terms of, like the Asian kids and the white kids.
Yeah, the cliques. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
all a lot of race-based cliques.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like even though we had that, I think like our church had a lot of cultural events that we were able to attend that like mom and dad, because we've talked
true.
about mom and dad not really having traditions for holidays or like Chinese holidays, but like we were still able to take part of that as a part of our
Yeah.
church, which
Yeah,
was really
absolutely.
nice.
Yeah. I mean, it played a huge role in mom and dad's life, and definitely super net positive for them.
Yeah.
But for us, there's also there are a lot of not net negatives, but there are a lot of
There's
negatives
some
in terms of
negatives
the
thrown
guilt
here
and
and
the
there.
shame. Yeah, like the
Yeah.
religious trauma, and like sure that
Yeah.
guilty conscience is good in some ways, but like in other ways, it's been quite harmful in my life.
Yeah.
But
Oh no.
Yeah.
that's like something else that I don't know if I'm comfortable talking about on the pod.
Yeah.
ever. But well, we can talk about those things in private. But anyways, that's I feel like you can actually, I mean, nowadays, like with, I think because we come from an immigrant church, an immigrant based church, a lot of the traditions and a lot of the practices are very traditional and conservative, because immigrant culture is just like more traditional and conservative. But nowadays with like, I mean, if you go to like some churches now, and I follow some like one of my good friends growing up became like a youth pastor, and I follow him on Twitter, and he like reposts and tweets a bunch of stuff, and it's all so progressive now. I'm just like, growing up in this day and age in like the church is so different from what we grew up with. It could be something that I is interested in like experiencing again, and like maybe raising my kids in. But it's like a completely different scene now. We're just used to like what our church looks like. And I think our church needs to start adapting in order to keep up with, I guess, the cultural pace, because I think our church, it's not like
I talked to Dad a lot
on
about
the
this,
decline.
Yeah. Oh,
but there are a lot of
it is.
Oh yeah. Okay, it's definitely on our church at home is definitely on the decline.
Immigrant population anymore.
Population
like
anymore. Yeah. It's second generation kids now, and like second generation families now, and like these people don't align with like the traditional conservative cultural values that our immigrant parents did, and now we're starting to see our church start to be on the decline, and a lot of the more progressive leaning churches be on the incline. It's very fascinating dynamic, and something that if I put myself back into this realm now, like, will I see myself thriving more? So put myself I haven't really thought too much about making that decision, but I think it's quite fascinating. Yeah. I need some more clickbaity stuff, so we're gonna talk about relationships for a hot second, and then we can end.
Okay.
Lit.
Just gotta be honest.
Can't lie.
So
it's the guilt and shame.
So I was talking to one of my friends recently, and he's like in this relationship with this girl, and he like absolutely loves this girl. I can tell by everything that he does that he's just like in love with this girl, but he's just like, I'm so attracted to this girl, but every quality I'm attracted to her by is like the opposite of what I'm compatible with. Does that make sense? Do you guys ever find yourself in that situation? Like
I'm attracted to
he
someone who
is very attracted to how independent, because she's like, you know, a hot girl. Like she's very independent and never really had to cater to any guys in her life. Like never had to like put into consideration someone else, because like she could. God, I also really like this girl, so, like as a friend. So like I don't want to say this in a negative way, because like, it's just like how she was. It was just like how she was like being like an attractive female. Like you can get away with not taking like your partner in consideration a lot, like just having the upper hand in a relationship. She's just always had the upper hand in a relationship. Like they would always bend to her will. And like he loves that aspect of her. He loves that she's independent.
Okay.
Like very attractive, and like will not bend to people's ways. But like when you're in a relationship with that person, like
it's hard to compromise.
Things need compromise, and like he's having such a hard time finding compromise on so many issues. And like I really resonated with what he was saying, because for me, I'm super attracted to people who are like really strong-headed and opinionated, like really strong people. And like for me, I feel like because I'm also strong-headed and somewhat opinionated, that just leads to a lot of arguments. But like that's just what I'm attracted to. And then arguments and any differences just start getting blown up, and the compatibility of two strong-headed people in one relationship is just like does not work.
Yeah, that sounds tough.
Yeah.
Wait, is he also really strong-headed? Is that?
He's pretty stubborn too. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah. Like he sees the way the relationship needs to go, and he's like, this is like has to be the way, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah. Like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
But have you guys ever found yourself in that kind of situation?
Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say no. So Rachel, please elaborate.
Yeah, I feel like I probably relate more to like the female in this aspect where like
Mm-hmm.
I'm very comfortable with like the qualities about myself that I appreciate. Um and so when someone doesn't like that or like someone isn't necessarily compatible with those things, like I will not change those things. Like I will provide an explanation, but I'm very like I
Yes.
will not change it.
Mm-hmm.
But then also on the other hand, I'm a massive people pleaser. So I won't change it, but I will feel
That's
god awful that I'm not changing it.
This seems
Like
like a
I will feel
completely
so
internal
bad
issue.
about it. Yeah, so like I will feel awful, terrible, but I'm like I can't change this, but like I feel bad that you're suffering the consequences of me not changing this, but I'm not going to change it like at the end of the day. That's
wow.
just my
That's
perspective, I
so
guess.
interesting. Because Rachel, I have the people pleasing aspect that you have, but I'm gonna go out of my way to like do things that I'm like like I'm
It's not
giving up,
convenient for
or it's not convenient. I'll inconvenience myself to like make other
Mm-hmm.
people like feel
Hmm.
happy.
Yeah.
I think well
Yeah.
when it comes
I used
to
to do
it,
that a lot.
yeah,
Yeah,
more so
I need to
comes to
fix that
like
actually.
how I spend my time, I guess, or like what people are
Mm.
expecting of me. Like if
Mm.
it's an expectation that I cannot meet, like I will be completely honest and be like, I can't do that. I cannot do that for you. Because these are things that I prioritize more than that aspect, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, that's dope. I need to learn how to do
I
that.
I don't know if that's necessarily what I was asking though. Like
Yeah.
you being attracted to something that is not compatible with you.
Oh,
Actually,
Yeah.
well,
I
yeah.
like in a
Right.
in a more romantic relationshipy type way, but
Yeah,
Oh.
that definitely is an issue. It seems like an endless loop of anxiety. If you think about
Yes.
it.
And that is part of why my life has been a
you think
mess for
about
the
it.
past couple of weeks.
Part two.
Um,
Yeah.
but
I
I was
mean,
gonna say oh
okay,
yeah, go
yeah,
ahead,
yeah.
Andrew.
Oh, I was gonna say like I did also like my early crushes in like college, high school.
Mm-hmm.
I would have crushes on people that were wildly incompatible with me, like
Mm.
internally. But
Ah,
I,
yes.
yeah, but I'm like trying to name specific quality, and honestly, I'm probably like your guy friend here. Like I'm attracted to women who like, or the people who I had crushes on also had similar qualities to I think the
Mm.
girl that this guy liked, or
Mm.
currently is dating.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, yeah, and so I I would logically deduce that this is not good and then move on is what is how I handled the
Mm.
situation.
That's good. At least you can recognize
yeah,
them and then move on. But once the feelings get really involved and like
Yeah, that's
real emotions and
mm,
a relationship blooms, it's hard to be like, oh, logic, move on. But
yeah. I think what
yeah.
Andrew
It
was
never
telling
that deep,
me,
so mm.
it was,
Oh,
you
for
know what
me,
it never was? That's serious. Anyways,
serious.
um, Andrew was telling me how, like a couple weeks ago, we were chatting, right? And he was like,
Mm.
I feel like
What
the
did I
point
say?
at which a relationship should end is when both people are not willing to compromise on like very
mm,
integral
mm,
issues. Like when both
mm,
people stop
Mhm.
putting in effort to find common
Mm.
ground
Mhm.
on solving issues that will continue being issues. And I feel
Yeah.
like
mm,
that's very true.
Mhm.
mm. Yeah. I mean, I remember, I forget if I was talking to our mom and dad or my ex's mom and dad, but like,
Oh.
there's this like
Concept of like one person in the relationship needs
needs to wrong the other person.
Oh, I
Like,
feel like this is something mom and dad would say.
yeah, like
Oh, wait.
someone needs to wrong the
Mm.
other person, as in like let them have their way,
Mhm.
is the direct translation, I suppose.
Mhm.
And I think I had a relationship of sorts like that in college where my partner, like the person I was
with was very like compromising. Like
Mm.
like, they would wrong a lot. and like it would, if like that developed into a full-blown relationship, that would have honestly like logistically worked out very well, just because like I wouldn't have any pushback to anything, and I feel and
Okay,
like
wait. I feel like I'm in a similar situation where I'm being let loose and like I can do whatever the hell I want, which is
The
bad,
other
which is
person's
awful. Yeah,
it's not
but like
good,
I
and I
feel
felt-
bad because I feel like I'm getting away with so much that I should not be getting away with. Like objectively, I take myself out of this this situation and I go, "No. This is bad.
yeah,
This is so bad."
yeah. Well,
The thing is, like, I don't know. And
in some instances, the other person is like, they're their own person. They're okay with this, like wronging that much.
Yeah, but like objectively, it's like not good. Like there's someone else out there that is probably way more compatible with them and can cater to their needs way more than you can.
wrong.
And that's
Oh,
what I've
so
been
you're-
struggling with.
So it's like you're not even catering to. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah.
Well,
like if they're
Yeah.
if their wronging is like compromising their own ability to meet their own needs, then yes, I think that's an incompatibility thing. But like as in like they would have, what I'm saying is like more so they don't have as many issues with like my current state. Like it doesn't take away from their experience.
As
This
in
is
like
this is a
they
more
like
nuanced
that you're a
subject
bad
than I thought.
person.
No. Wait, hold on.
I'm
That's not what I meant at
confused.
all. No, but like they're
Wait.
like okay with like my habits. They're okay with like maybe how messy I am, or they're just like I don't know. Yeah, just like the not so good parts of me, they're okay with. Yeah, I guess that they're okay with. No, okay, I'm not a bad person, I don't think. But
Jesse
You
is
have
an
flaw-
awful
everyone
person.
has flaws, you know.
Yeah, we're all
They're more
human.
accepting of your flaws. Is probably a better way to put it.
yeah, I don't know. I have a certain way that I like to live, and like I think with certain people that wrong a lot, it's like very compatible because my style of living is
Do you think it
just more
enables
independent.
you? Like, do you think you should be different, or do you like when people wrongly do things?
No, but then with that personality comes with a lot of like just complacency. Okay,
That's what I
it's
was gonna
very
say,
general.
Like,
It's very
would you
general
rather
because I'm
have
just talking
someone-
about like one experience.
Yeah,
'Cause,
would
like,
you
not
rather have
everyone's like
someone
this.
Make you be less messy, like if that was said flaw, you know? Because then that feels like
Yeah, I
mothering
don't know.
on the woman's end, you know?
It
Assuming
wasn't a
that
mothering.
it was a girl, like you
Yes.
know, or assuming that
Um,
yeah.
This conversation's a lot more difficult to have than I intended.
Yeah, I don't really know where you're going now.
It's becoming super abstract, and I just don't know how to conceptualize
yeah,
these
'cause
things
it's
anymore.
super abstract. 'Cause
Alright,
we don't
it's
want
too
to talk
hard.
about
Let's
the
give up.
specifics of where it stemmed from.
Yes. Yeah. Without delving into specifics, it's becoming quite abstract.
It's kind of hard.
But yeah, I feel like this is a pretty common issue of just like people being attracted to qualities that they're actually incompatible with. And I've personally have felt that, and I think part of maturing is recognizing that and like being okay with being someone that doesn't have those qualities that you're attracted to, but you know because they don't have them, you're more compatible with. And I feel like it almost feels like you're, you know how in their relationship there's a reacher and then there's a settler.
Settler, yeah.
It might feel like you're settling perhaps, but in the end, you're not actually settling. You're just you're actually maybe even reaching for a better life. So
Wow. Great
Never
reframing.
settle.
maturation.
Wait. Yes. You want to make it real interesting topic? I had this question. I'm like,
Okay.
should I pose this question? Like, what is
Okay.
like the toxic thing that you're attracted to?
Oh, for me?
Yeah. Well, I don't
I
know.
think
both
I-
you and Rachel.
not toxic. It's not toxic. It's just
okay,
like
maybe not toxic,
what-
but like
I'm
a
a-
weird incompatible. Like, what is your
Incompatible.
specific incompatible like attribute that you're attracted to?
I already said it. Like a really
Oh.
strong-headed, opinionated person.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like a
Yeah.
really fiery,
I see.
passionate
Oh,
person.
I see. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Or not nice.
I don't
Or
know
nice,
if there's
who knows?
necessarily anything that I'm like a incompatibility, I would say. Like
Rachel's just
well,
not
I
attracted
also just
to any
don't
attributes.
Yeah.
like I appreciate qualities in friends, but I don't think there's anything that I am like I seek out that I'm not compatible with in terms of like love languages,
Okay.
if that makes sense. But I will say
okay.
like something that I enjoy that probably not most people enjoy is like this sounds no, let me phrase this differently. I like people who can like hold like verbal spar. Does that make sense? Like making
yes.
fun of each other kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like
yes,
I think
yes.
it's fun.
I also
Mm.
love that. I need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I'm
Like
not
a little
you
bit
guys.
of bullying, you know?
But that's not like toxic though. That's just fun.
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah.
I think that's fine.
Favorite pastimes.
Engage in
verbal
verbal
spar. That's like the most like Andrew Tate thing to say.
Yeah,
Oh
it's pretty
gosh.
bad.
For a
I don't
guy
like
to
that.
say.
Ew. That's
Because like for
gross.
them, it means something very different. But
Right.
Oh.
again, like yeah. Verbal
didn't know
sparring
they
is
also
probably
had
to
a-
them is what's the word you call Andrew Tate fans? Karina calls them
Taters. Just kidding.
no
Incels.
incels.
Oh,
Incels.
okay.
Like verbal sparring to incels is just like challenging your views on like I don't know like feminism and
Oh.
yeah.
Okay.
Not that
No,
kind of
not like
mental
that.
sparring.
I
I'm
mean,
more
like,
verbal
bullying.
sparring. Yeah. Just like shooting
light
the shit.
bullying,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
like nothing
yeah.
serious. You know what it never
Yeah.
was?
Yeah.
That's serious.
Serious.
I like light bullying. Bullying light. Favorite pastime.
LITE.
Light bully. That's funny.
Bully me a little bit. That's all. I like to be
All right.
humbled. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good. And it's good to have people that
Around you that can do that, and people that can also be serious when they need to be serious, but have fun when they needs to be more lighthearted. All right, with that, we'll wrap up this episode. But before we go, I need to make sure the synchronization of the video and everything. So I'm going to count down and see. Oh, also shout out to whoever commented on the YouTube video that suggested that we do the podcast over FaceTime. I think the latency is so much better now. Like,
Yeah.
there's
So?
I agree.
it doesn't feel like there's any latency over FaceTime. So shout out to whoever commented that on our YouTube video.
this was a great suggestion. So we're going to test it out. 3, 2, 1.
Clap, and on clap, we clap. All right? 3, 2, 1, clap.
Okay,
Oh.
well,
It's a little
bit.
better.
That's it.
All right. Actually, on
Try it
1.
again.
Let's do 3, 2, 1. And then I don't say clap. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Oh.
It's definitely way faster, but there's
Okay.
still...
Yeah.
I mean,
it's a little
again,
bit
it's
lag.
sending it to the moon and back, so it's still going to take a while. But anyways, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of the Rooftop Pod. I'm your host, Jesse, and checking out with me is my brother
Andrew.
and my sister,
Rachel.
and we will catch you on the next episode of the Rooftop Pod. Peace.
Peace.
All right. How do you guys feel? You
Oh,
feel
that was
better
good.
now?
I do feel better. That's why I decided to run the
Therapy
pod.
session.
I was like, I need this. All right. Stop the video recording.